What is going on, everyone? This is Ninja Geek here, and welcome back to another video. Sorry again for my voice in this one. I do have some allergies that I'm still working over, so it's kind of hard to breathe at the moment. But anyways, today I wanted to talk about a topic that I feel is very serious, and that I've been sort of involved with in some way within the past few years. I'm not going to go great into detail on this, but in years previous, I have made a bunch of videos about pretty much, in generally speaking, violence in the world and gaming as a whole, and kind of comparing and contrasting those two things, and pretty much why the mainstream media, that being CNN, for example, there are many other outlets, but CNN is the main contender here, as I would say. They are just covering it wrong. And today I found out news, and I know that it's been going around for a while now because there were rumors back in 2017 about this becoming a thing. And what I'm talking about here is that gaming disorder is an actual disease now. So what I mean by that is now it is 100% considered on the World Health Organization's website, and it's a clinically proven disorder now that you can get treated for. So now therapists and doctors alike will be studying gaming disorder, and so if you go there with this, they will have more knowledge on it, essentially, is what that means. It's basically, in other words, the official release of something of a disorder like this. And to me, this wouldn't seem so bad if there were other things involved in it besides gaming disorder. So, first of all, what is gaming disorder? Well, if we go over to the World Health Organization website, which I will leave this link in the description below so you can read it, it says, gaming disorder is defined in the draft of the 11th revision of the International Classification of Diseases as a pattern of gaming behavior, digital gaming or video gaming, characterized by impaired control over gaming, increased priority given to gaming all over other activities to the extent that gaming takes precedence over other interests and daily activities, and the continuation or escalation of gaming despite the occurrence of negative consequences. For gaming disorder to be diagnosed, the behavior pattern must be of sufficient severity to result in significant impairment in personal, family, social, educational, occupational, or other important areas of functioning, and would normally have been evident for at least 12 months. And of course, there is the whole page there which you can read about it. But the one part that I would like to discuss is the last one. The last point that they mention here: should all people who engage in gaming be concerned about developing gaming disorder? It says studies suggest that gaming disorder affects only a small portion of people who engage in digital or video gaming activities. However, people who partake in gaming should be alert to the amount of time they spend on gaming activities, particularly when it is to the exclusion of other daily activities, as well as to any changes in their physical, psychological health and functioning and social functioning that could be attributed to their pattern of gaming behavior. So basically it's saying here that it's now an official disorder, but not really many people should be concerned about it, and that it's only really a small percentage of people who have this disorder. And now that that is out of the way, I kind of want to get into explaining my thoughts on why I don't believe in this at all. And if you've known me from the past and the different videos that I have made about gaming, whether that even be gaming or just media in general, media including video gaming, whether that's on your mobile phone, on a gaming console, on a PC, just video gaming in general, no matter what the game is, just in general, movies, music, any type of media, and how the mainstream media pushes that out to blame them, and that's kind of where I've talked about in the past. And what I want to talk about today, and moving into why I don't believe in this gaming disorder. So basically, in the past, there have been many events where the news will blame video games. In particular, I'm pointing out video games here, but obviously I mean all forms of media, that they will blame these inanimate objects, to say no less, and they will blame them because they don't feel like pushing the blame to the right end result. They would rather blame something that is not entirely the case just to make people feel better, or maybe they just do it because I have no clue. But that's pretty much what it is. So moving on with examples, back when the Sandy Hook shooting happened in 2012, I did make some sort of video revolving around that, and I basically had stated how I guess back then the news was all over video games and how they're too violent and how they need to be banned and all of that type of coverage that the mainstream media, mostly CNN, was outputting. And they were just covering things in a completely invalid way back then. Basically, in the Sandy Hook shooting, I guess what they have said was that the shooter had been practicing, in quotes, on Call of Duty games or been playing video games to some sort when the police or whoever searched the house and found this. And to me, the two don't really correlate well, right? This guy who was the shooter at that point, and it sets an example for all other things. I'm just pointing out this one example. The shooter here obviously had some sort of problem. Playing these games didn't necessarily make it the problem better, but at the same time, he's not like, I guess I should say, everybody else, in quotes. He's not like everybody else who just goes on for a few hours or even a lot of hours just to have fun. And that, or communicate with friends, or to relieve stress or anxiety or other things that are actual disorders. And that's pretty much just where we're at, you know? It's hard to go back and remember everything that had happened, or even hard to talk about it, because it means so much to me, because I know that in my heart and my mind that gaming is obviously, I think to many people, and especially many people that are here watching this video and watching my channel and who watch other channels across YouTube in the whole gaming scene, that of course you're into video gaming, and it's sad to see our community being disrupted like this. And within the past 5 years, it's only gotten worse with many different shootings, whether that's school shootings or whatever the case may be, just shootings in general. And the blame has always been pushed onto video games, mainly video games, but movies and whatever, versus blaming the actual problem, which is parents who don't care and people that just have actual problems like depression or anxiety, and the list goes on, that are not getting the help that they need. And that all the help that they need goes back onto the parents' fault. But CNN would rather sit there and blame video games instead of blaming parents, and I can't see why, but I can understand why, because maybe they just don't want to upset parents or people that are watching their show, because then they're going to lose their viewership, and therefore then they're going to lose their money or monetary value, and that's pretty much where it all comes down to. This world is just based around money, and getting aside from that, I have seen instances where people blame other inanimate objects for their doing other things that just should not be. I've seen people blame guns in general just for scenarios that never even included guns, and they just blame guns because they want to see them banned. And I'm not going to be getting into a whole political value or viewpoint as to weapons in society and who's right and who's wrong. But in general, what I have seen, I mean, I truly believe that that owning a gun is, in America, your standpoint, your value, it's your right to have one. So that's pretty much what I believe in. And I feel that it's right if you take the necessary procedures and precautions in owning one. But I do feel that the people that don't see this and that want guns completely banned are just completely taking everything out of disruption and out of disorder. They are blaming guns for nothing. Some scenarios don't even include guns, and they just relate everything back to guns, which doesn't make any sense. And the list goes so on and so on. And basically what I'm trying to say here is that I'm just really not understanding what America is thinking. And when I mean by America, I mean people, just regular people like you and me, are thinking in their minds. Because if we were thinking clearly, if you have a valid criticism, a valid point, I could sit there and, dispute it and argue with it over my point, but when you come out with stupid things that make absolutely no sense, that's when I have to, put my head down in shame, and it really just does not surprise me anymore, the amount of stupidity that I have seen all across social media, all across the internet, and all across this country, about vast majority of different situations, ranging from school shootings to any kind of shooting, to explosions, to hostage situations, to whatever the case may be. And I know that we're kind of getting a bit away from gaming disorder, but we're going to get back on topic to that in a second. Everything it's always boiled down to an inanimate object. It's the gun, it's a bullet, it's a bomb, but it's never the person that did it. It's never, this guy probably had some anxiety. This guy definitely had some anxiety and depression and stuff, or the parents never tried to get him help when he was young, and now he's like this. And now instead of blaming parents who didn't care, now we're just blaming things that just don't make sense. And that's pretty much where we're at. So now, getting back to this whole gaming disorder thing, why, I just have to ask, and I actually got this from NeroCinema's video, who I actually just watched before making this video, so I will leave that in the description below because I feel like it's an excellent video, and he goes further in depth in discussing what I'm about to discuss here. If there's such thing as a gaming disorder, why is there no Facebook disorder, or cell phone disorder, or anything other than, or, watching, or movie disorder, or Netflix disorder, or Snapchat disorder? It's just, they're putting the blame just on video games here with this gaming disorder, but millions of more people are spending more hours a day on Facebook, and even parents are spending more hours on things like Facebook and, all that social media stuff. But so, the reason why Facebook disorder, we'll just hypothetically say, is not an actual disorder is because if parents found out that Facebook disorder was an actual disorder, then it would just be complete chaos. So instead of doing that, they just kind of shift every single blame to a gaming disorder, instead of it being this person has anxiety, let's get them help, or they have depression, let's get them help, or these parents didn't help them because for whatever reason, they just did not and didn't care, in other words, to help their son, their daughter, to get the help that they need, whatever that help may be. And instead, now these kids are growing up playing video games, and there's nothing wrong with playing video games. They're growing up playing video games, and they're making friends on there. They could be making friends on there. I know for myself personally, it takes away a lot of outside stress and anxiety or depression or whatever the case may be, and it actually takes it away and helps you to get through with that. For 99.9% of people, it does that, and for whatever reason, they just don't want to see that. And by they, I mean this World Health Organization, along with the mainstream media, just does not want to see this, and instead pushes blame. And here we are sitting today discussing about a gaming disorder, which I honestly never thought I would have done before, but it does not surprise me, like I have mentioned yet again. I have talked strongly in this video and in previous videos about how passionate I am about gaming, and I don't think that I'll ever not play video games. Of course, going from the times when I was younger, where I was able to play more often, to the times where I'm at now, where I'm in college, and I don't really have as much time to play as I did back in middle and high school. Obviously, the times are changing, but I don't think that I will ever stop completely playing video games. Even if I own a console to play an hour a week, I will still be playing video games until I can, because I love them and I love the interaction that they give, and I'm just so interested and intrigued in it. But when things like this happen that really tears down your community, our community that you're listening to and we are a part of, it's really just heartbreaking, to say the least. And moving forward, the problem with this gaming disorder moving forward is that now that gaming disorder is an actual problem that doctors and therapists alike are going to have to study, because it's going to be considered an actual problem, anything can be a problem now. So now that this is a problem, it's lowered the standards for what is a disorder. So, for instance, you can have a thumb and ass disorder. You know, you can have any disorder you want. Obviously, I just made that up just because it's the stupidest thing ever, and I know that, but that's what I'm saying. Anything can be a disorder, because now this gaming disorder is an actual thing, and now the only way moving forward that we can really do to solve this is, well, the first step, I believe, is to, number one, just completely get rid of this and actually focus on the problems. But I myself know, and as many of you know, that probably will not happen. We will never face a point where the mainstream media will start blaming parents that are not doing a good job with their kids because they don't want to upset them and make them lose viewership, which makes them lose money. We know that that's not going to happen. We know that they're going to continue to blame games until the day we die and after that. But what we can do moving forward is, now that we've established gaming as a disorder, which, of course, as I mentioned, I do not like, we need to start recognizing other disorders like cell phone disorder, Facebook disorder, and the list goes on and on. You can name it. Anything is a disorder as far as today goes in my mind. And that's the only way we can kind of combat this, because since gaming is a disorder, the standard is so low that we have to combat that and say, you know what, excessive use of Facebook, like 5+ hours staring at it a day, that's a disorder. And to me, I honestly don't know if that's a disorder or not, but now that the World Health Organization has set the standard so low for what is actually a disorder, this, I feel, in my opinion, needs to happen. So, I didn't just come on here to, I guess, rant about the past and how video games have kind of evolved into the mainstream media, blaming them instead of blaming parents or what have you. But rather, it was that, plus me trying to offer some criticism and ways moving forward that we can shape this country, because as a citizen living in America, it's pretty sad right now to see everything happen. I mean, of course, school shootings and regular shootings and bombs and threats and the list goes on is extremely upsetting and sad to see. But on the other hand, it's even more sad to me to see that all of this stuff happens, and then the media, who reaches out to millions and billions of viewers every single day, is brainwashing their viewers to believe something that's actually not true, which is video games and their violence and how they affect people in the real world. Because I guarantee you, most people will... 99.9% of people, like I have said before, are being helped by playing video games for getting rid of their problems, and 99.9% of people have fun while playing video games and will absolutely do no harm. It's just the 0.1% of people that have this problem where they feel they're not brought up right, they're mentally unstable, they're not getting the help they need, and then they go do something like this, and it's just an endless cycle, because then after that, then the mainstream media kicks in again and again and again about video games, and it's never going to end. But right now, the only thing that we can do is start making more disorders to combat it. I mean, maybe that's a terrible idea, because I think that this should be gone, of course, at all, like I mentioned, but right now, since they made it a disorder, and the fact that I don't see it ever going away, we need to do something to not just target gaming, but to target movies, or to target music, or to target anything else. And although I don't feel like that's right, it's really the only thing we can do moving forward to kind of set the disorder level bar low, just as low as gaming is here on this list. But I really want to hear your thoughts on this and let me know what you think. Maybe there's something else that we can do that I'm not thinking of, but the only two things right now are either completely remove gaming disorder, which would be a love relationship that I would have if they did do that, but I don't see that happening. And, you know, that's pretty much where we're at right now. And I will leave all links in the description below to the World Health Organization website about gaming disorder. And I will leave a link to Nero's video down below as well. But I hope you did all enjoy this video. Let me know your thoughts on anything that I have discussed in this video down below. And I will see you on the next one. This is Ninja Geek. I'm out. And peace.